What is systemic oppression in intersectionality theory? Imagine a society where some groups face invisible barriers every day, not just because of one reason but because of many overlapping factors. That's what systemic oppression is all about. It's when social, political, and economic systems create and keep these barriers in place. These systems are built into laws, policies, cultural norms, and institutions. They tend to favor certain groups while making life harder for others. Intersectionality theory, this idea gets even more specific. It was introduced by Kimberlé Crenshaw in 1989. She explained that people don't just face discrimination based on one part of who they are. Instead, different parts of their identity, like race, gender, class, sexuality, or disability, combine to create unique experiences of unfair treatment. For example, a black woman might face bias that's different from what black men or white women experience. It's not just racism plus sexism. It's a new, different form of discrimination that comes from how these identities intersect. Systemic oppression shows up in many ways. Laws might seem neutral but end up hurting certain groups more. For example, policies that don't consider the challenges faced by people with disabilities or those from lower-income backgrounds can make it harder for them to access education or jobs. Cultural attitudes and social norms also reinforce these barriers. They shape how institutions operate and who gets what resources or opportunities. This kind of oppression keeps power in the hands of dominant groups. It creates advantages for some and disadvantages for others. For instance, a workplace might have policies that seem fair but unintentionally favor people from certain racial or class backgrounds. This means that even if no one is intentionally being unfair, the system still produces inequality. From a liberal point of view, understanding systemic oppression through intersectionality helps us see why simple solutions don't always work. It pushes us to create policies that recognize multiple identities at once. For example, programs that help women might not fully support women of color or women with disabilities unless they consider those overlapping identities. This approach aims to make society fairer by addressing the specific barriers faced by people at these intersections. Applying intersectionality to systemic oppression means looking at how different social categories work together within power structures. It means understanding that people can experience privilege in some areas and oppression in others at the same time. It also involves designing policies that target the needs of those with multiple marginalized identities. Challenging stereotypes and biases is part of this work too. So, in simple terms, systemic oppression in intersectionality is about how our society's rules and norms create and maintain unfair advantages and disadvantages based on how our identities overlap. Recognizing this helps us push for a more just and equal society where everyone can participate fully.